I went to a temple last month in Hualien, and they had some statues. One was like a man's body with a horse's head.
牛头马面。
And somebody gave me a very basic explanation as to what that was. In my job over the years, I've spoken to children about Jack and the Beanstalk, where Jack throws the beans down and a beanstalk grows, and on top of the beanstalk is a giant with a pot of gold, and Jack steals the gold and the giant comes. And when I hear some of and I don't wish to be rude, but I'm speaking very honestly, when I hear some of the explanations and some of the stories about the gods in the temple, this is the god of fortune, this is the god of this, and this god has a horse's head, and for me, it's on the same level as my Jack and the Beanstalk stories. It's a good little tale to tell somebody who's 4 years old, but grown adults who go there and worship and pray to these deities. For me personally, it defies logic. There's no logical behavior to it, and I don't know, maybe I should be quiet now because it's people's religion, but don't expect me to swallow it.
I think that will be one of the reasons why people didn't run over when they see car accident. Because if someone died there, they believe that that will bring bad fortune if you see someone die.
How far do you take this nonsense? Because I just read in my newspaper yesterday that some guy paid a huge amount of money for the car registration plate that said 888888.
Oh, yeah.
Because 8 sounds like this Chinese word which means good fortune.
Yeah.
It just infuriates me. The ignorance of it. It's just absolute. Am I allowed to say one rude word? Bullshit. Oh
Do you
my
know
God.
that some building doesn't have the fourth floor?
Yeah,
They just skip it.
I know.
The fourth called the 5, and you just.
So we can send machines to Mars to see if there's any water on Mars. We can send submarines to the very deepest depths of the ocean. We can expand our minds. We can send telescopes into space to look to the furthest reaches of space. We have so much capability. Yet we spend money on 888.
No, I won't spend that money.
You know,
Not for me.
human beings, we have this Achilles heel, this weakness, which will probably destroy us all in the end. Our superstitions are absolute nonsense, in my personal opinion. I have to keep saying that so I don't sound like a bigot.
If we visit your country,
Yeah.
what advice would you give?
In relation to what? There's so many things. Well, number one, be careful, be very safe in the big cities. There are a lot of wild young people at the moment, so be on your guard. Violence is something to be wary of, okay? So the big major cities like London, Birmingham, Manchester, Liverpool, be careful. Safety is important. But try to get out, personally try to get out of the cities and go into the countryside and look at some of the older villages. Very, very beautiful.
Yeah.
If the weather is agreeable, because the weather in the UK is a gamble, but if you find that you're there and the sun is shining and the sky is blue, if you're in the countryside, possibly the best place in the world, the best experience ever. There are certain parts of the UK that are like fairy tale, like the little village in Lord of the Rings. Everything is perfect and old and beautiful and as life should be. these places do exist. So yeah, I would encourage you to get out of the city. Don't do the traditional tourist things like Buckingham Palace and Harrods and this and that, and the Wax Museum. That's all tedious and boring. Get out into the countryside, see the smaller villages. You'll have some memories that will stay in your mind forever. Go into a traditional country pub, maybe 600 years old. Buy a drink, sit down by the fire, look around and just say, wow, this is amazing. Because Taiwan doesn't have anything like that, unfortunately. So if you can experience that, it's just, for me, it's as life should be. I mean, I live here in Taiwan and it's busy and chaotic and a trillion scooters and very few pavements to walk on. Once you go in the lanes, there's nowhere to walk and things like this. And after a while, that irritates me, that bothers me. The noise, the crowds. And so every summer I try to escape. Unfortunately, I know a place where I can escape to, which is the British countryside. It's another world. It's quiet, it's relaxed, it's beautiful. And then I jump back into Taiwan again and I'm ready for another year here. So that's what I would suggest.